are. And I want to welcome everyone to our session today. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Susan Tade. I'm an academic technologist with the Office of Information Technology. I'm joined by my colleague, Yelena. Yelena is an instructional designer, and she and I will be facilitating our session today on using media in course development. I want to let you know that normally I'm looking straight ahead at you, and this is where my eye contact is with you for the camera, but I'm also occasionally going to look off to my left, which is where the presentation is. So don't be thrown off by the fact that sometimes I'm not looking straight at everybody. So presentation files is over here, which you should be seeing on your screen right now. One thing that I want to talk with you about and share with you is how we're going to run this session, and I want to talk about accessibility during our session. We try to make all of our webinars and workshops as accessible as possible. So please let me know if you find anything that you feel like we can improve upon. The chat panel is a place where you can add your questions, and where if you have an answer to a question that someone's asked, feel free to add that in there as well. But if you can't easily access the chat panel, or if you're feeling overwhelmed by the chat, don't feel like you have to be engaged there. For some people, the chat is what kind of keeps them engaged throughout the session. So use it to ask your questions or to offer ideas and feedback as well. So any resources that we share today in the chat panel, we're also going to send to you via a follow-up email with a link to this recording. So just so you know, and that usually takes about a week for us to get that back to you. So we'll use the chat panel for conversation. We're also going to use polls occasionally, and we are also going to use our audience, our participation panel. So I want to make sure that you know how to get to your yes and no, because we're going to ask you a couple questions and we'd like to see your responses in the participation panel. So just want to make sure that you're aware of that panel as well. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to enable our live transcript, which is now should be turned on, and you should now be seeing it. You do not have to view that, but for some people, this is a real necessity to be able to see that transcript. You are able to click hide transcript, which is right next to that hide subtitle, so you don't have to have it up online while you're in the session, but know that it's available for you. Okay. And now let me go back to our presentation file here. During this workshop, we're actually not going to use a presentation file. We're using a Canvas course site as we discuss strategies that you can use to create focused video resources for your courses. And we're going to share examples on how to integrate these videos into learning activities so you can ensure greater student engagement and deeper learning. This course that we're going to provide for you is a public site. So we're going to provide with you a way to enroll in it so that you can watch all and look at all those resources later and make them available to you as you're working on your own Canvas course. Now, for some of us, our inclination is to record a lecture that we plan to deliver face-to-face, which would likely be somewhere between 30 to 40 minutes in length. The issue is that these long recorded lectures are really hard for students to digest and to process. When we're delivering a lecture face-to-face live, we can actually see everybody's face and their body language, and we can adjust our delivery based on what we see. In this kind of an alternative instruction environment, that's really very challenging. So I have a quick poll for you. And I'd like you to use your yes, no. Have you already recorded videos for your students to review in an asynchronous online site? Yes or no? And if you would let me know, that'd be great. Our goal here is to share with you some strategies about creating those videos. So we just kind of want to get a sense for whether or not folks have actually done this yet or not. And if you want to share with us, if you have created some, how long have those videos generally, how long are they on average? And you can put that in the chat as well. So what I want to talk with you about is research is telling us that students don't watch videos that are longer than 7 to 10 minutes. What we're going to do is we're going to look at an educational framework that discusses why it's hard for students to process these long videos. And I'm going to use our course site to track through this information. And again, we're going to share this with you as a resource. We're going to be talking first about the cognitive load theory. And this proposes that the brain can only handle a limited amount of information at any one time. Cognitive load theory tells us that every learning experience has three components: the intrinsic load, which is the level of difficulty associated with a specific instructional topic, and the prior connections to that subject, or maybe lack of connections, that can either help or hinder learning. Extraneous load is that information that doesn't need to be there, and it can really get in the way of learning. It can really hinder it. And then the germane load, which is the level of activity or the processing needed for learning to occur. That's that mental capacity that's directed toward like integrating the new information with the existing knowledge. So when you're creating and integrating media in your course, you need to really measure that intrinsic load. What's the level of difficulty or the effort necessary for the students to process the content that you're sharing with them? And will the students have any kind of prior connection or knowledge to that? You need to eliminate or at least limit extraneous load. Make sure you're not putting unnecessary content or information that's going to get in the way. And then you want to promote germane load. And you can do this by making sure that you're aligning things to your course content and to the learning objectives. And you're going to strive to connect it to kind of that past knowledge. You can include a prompt like, remember last week when we discussed thus and such. That's kind of, again, bridging and connecting things back and forth for your students. If you keep in mind the role and the limitations of working memory when you're designing your course, student learning will actually be enhanced. So I think there's lots of conversation going on in the chat, which is great. And Yelena is there monitoring it. And we'll try and address things as we go. So continue to feel free to add your questions. We'll work on getting them all addressed as we go. So the next framework that I want to share with you, that it's called the cognitive theory of multimedia learning. And this really builds on the cognitive load theory, but it focuses on multimedia learning. And this framework can help you decide how to select and present content that we use in our videos. Basically, this theory tells us that the brain does not interpret all pieces of multimedia presentation the same. So words and pictures and sounds are processed differently. In the sensory memory, there are two separate channels for processing visual and verbal input. And by combining words and pictures, we can really enhance learning as long as we don't exceed the cognitive load. The input then moves into this working memory. And this is where information is processed. Learning is an active process of filtering and selecting and organizing and integrating information. So there's a limited capacity of information in this working memory. So we need to select the content carefully and go back to consider your learning objectives and assessments to determine what needs to be in those lectures and what can be cut out, which is reducing the extraneous load. So instructional designers often use this as kind of a backward course design technique as they're building courses. So it's really a powerful way to do that. But ultimately, the goal is to add to this long-term memory. Long-term memory occurs when your short-term memory activity is combined with active learning in this working memory area to solidify the learning. So shorter, more focused presentations or lectures combined with strategic learning, active learning helps create that long-term memory. So what I want to go to now, if we could, is now talk about different types of videos. And these two theories are going to help guide what we're going to do as we're creating videos. Now I'd like to share with you three different types of videos. There's numerous types, but let's first look at like a lecture presentation video. This is probably the one we're all most familiar with. Combines video and audio and the presenter presenting information and materials like a PowerPoint or sharing the desktop or something like that. Students can stop the video. They can rewind the video, review it. They can fast forward into specific points. So it's a really great advantageous way to actually share information for your students. The visuals obviously can make it easier for students to see the content and review it. So this is kind of what our standard is, what we're probably most thinking about. But there's also like an interview or a guest presentation. And this is another kind of video that I'd advocate that you could think about using. And it allows you as the instructor to bring in the perspective of another person or a subject matter expert on a topic. And I'm sure many of you have done that. Recording this in an interview allows you to kind of reuse that video and not actually have to bring that person back multiple times to the course. So it's a really, it kind of captures that guest speaker's ideas and perspectives for the students. They get to see something outside of the class. And it kind of is it's just a nice, great way to share more information and knowledge. The next one that I want to share with you, and there's reasons I'm sharing these different types with you, is a demonstration video. And this is probably my favorite video type because I feel like it is an excellent medium for showing processes. It provides every student with a front row seat for some kind of an experiment or a demonstration. It can take them out of the classroom and into the lab. And it allows you to guide your students through this process and show how things maybe change over time. So it's a very powerful medium. And I love the close-ups. I love being able to see and hear and notice there's text on the screen as well as, and there's verbal as well. I just have muted that. So in some cases, a recorded demonstration can be a lot more effective than a live demonstration. And then it can free up class time for other activities. So these recordings can be used for many years. And in some cases, for more than one course. So based on these items and these things, I have a poll for you that I'd like to share with you. I'm going to bring up my poll. And, oh, I already gave you that poll. But for now, I'm going to launch another poll. I'm going to show a poll about video types. And I would like to know, of the types that I just shared with you, what kind would you most likely be recording for your students? You can do share more than one if you feel like you would do all of them. But I'm just interested in knowing what your thoughts are about those different types. Good. We've got some, I actually am showing you the poll at the same time. You should be seeing that on the screen now. Normally you wouldn't be able to do that, but I can share my screen with you. Okay, so now I'm going to end the poll and share with you the results, which I was showing anyway. Looks like a lot of you will do lecture videos. There's to be some demonstration, then some guests. So that's good. Okay. I am now going to talk more about the design of your videos and creating those videos. And just so you know, my background before I was working in academic technology, my background was a media producer. I worked at the university as a media producer for many years. So I do have some knowledge about actually creating and crafting videos. And one of the things that I want to recommend to you, the very, very most important thing is in order to create short and focused presentations, I recommend that you create an objective statement for every video you create. So the objective statement really keeps you focused on the content that needs to be included in the video. And using this statement can also be used to inform the students as to why the content is so important to their learning. Why do they need to know this material? You want to make sure, oh, I've lost my mouse. Here we go. I have to do this. You want to make sure that that will, again, focus you and it helps inform the students as to why that is so important to their learning. So make sure that your video objective is aligned to your course and unit goals. And this, again, can validate the necessity of the content. I'm going to show you an objective in a minute, but I want to get through a few more other things. This is kind of an outline of how you would create that objective. And as you look at that objective statement, as you're looking at content to put in, you always are looking back at that to say, is this actually helping move the content forward? Is it really needed in there? So, and also when you're thinking about think about whether or not your content is reusable. Does it need to be revised every year, or is it something that's an evergreen topic? This can help you decide how much actual energy you're going to put into creating that video. And if it's not reusable, if it's something that's very topical, then you maybe want to, while you want to create it, you might not spend as much time. But if it's a demonstration video of a process that will never change, you can actually put a lot of time and energy into that. And I just wanted to throw that idea out there to you as well. But after you've created an objective statement, I am going to see if my mouse came back. Oh, it did. Good. I'm losing battery. After you've created an objective statement, I recommend that you create an outline. And one of the things that I realized that you are all experts in your field, and you probably don't need an outline as you're going through your content. However, it keeps you focused and it keeps your delivery more succinct on the content that's relevant and necessary, therefore reducing that extraneous load and optimizing germane load. So the idea of creating an outline and using that objective statement really does help pair the information for you. One of the other things, an outline, introduction, main points, conclusion. I just want to say one thing about an interview. In an interview, a lot of times people are, it's a colleague that they know very well. And so they have more of a relationship with that person. So they would say, I'm just going to talk to my colleague and they're going to give me all this great information. I would really recommend that you write down all the questions you plan on asking the person and share that with them ahead of time. I would not wing it. And the reason I'm saying that is that, again, it focuses the content more. It keeps everybody on task. If you create a long interview that's 2 hours long, you then have to go down and edit it down. So if you really think sparingly about what you really want to come across and record those pieces in that way, it's easier for you to edit. So think about it that way, about what are those, what's the topic really what's really relevant. After you've created an outline, again, I believe strongly that you need a script. Again, it focuses back on the content, keeps you succinct. It saves you editing time. And all of these things are things that we have linked in this course. So you can have a real good focus or flow of a script. But I also thought I'd share with you what a script can look like. And here's a video that I created last January. But this is what I've highlighted here, the objective statement. This is what I really want to focus on this video and what I want students to learn. I want them to learn the importance of the Canvas course menu. That's it. Anything outside of that, I'm not going to be putting in there. I created an exact script of what I wanted to see and what I wanted to hear. And so this keeps me on task, and it also makes it easier for me to edit it and finish it in the long run. So with that, after creating the script, now you're ready to actually create those videos. So based on those two frameworks and these design strategies, we recommend that you, and I think I've said this about 5 times already, chunk your content, trim your content into short video segments. You can still sequence those segments for your students. But if you think about the fact that when you're delivering, if you're in a class for a 50-minute class, you probably have chunks of content in there that you're not even really aware of. So think about how you can create those little pieces of content. 5 to 7 minutes is ideal, but after 10 minutes, we know that viewing will drop off rapidly. But again, you can sequence it in like a playlist, giving them time to process information in between. And that's where it's easier for them to digest and absorb. You really need to segment and align your content to those course objectives. Explicitly create a one-on-one relationship with the content and that learning goal or that objective. It really facilitates that cognitive load, the germane load for your student. So keep it short, keep it relevant, make sure your students know why they need to invest their time into watching the video. If you record a synchronous Zoom, like right now we're recording this, and it's going to be an hour-long video, so sorry, but you could be seeing portions of it. We could actually stop the recording at one point and restart it again when we knew we had a natural segment. And if you can actually do that, and then when you download those Zoom files, those Zoom video files, they're already cut into chunks. Again, trying to make it easier for you in your delivery. Another thing we want you to keep in mind is to really mix in some clear cues in your videos. We discussed those dual channels in the sensory memory. Research tells us that with pictures and spoken words, information is only processed through it is processed to two channels, allowing for more efficient processing. But pictures and printed words, information is processed only through the visual channel. So you really got to keep in mind that way that information can be absorbed. And any kind of signaling, any kind of visual or verbal in the presentation, using those symbols to kind of highlight important information for your students can help them understand what's really important. And the last thing that I want to talk about is instructor presence. And this is what I like to call our sweetener. Your camera presence is so important. Students want to know that their instructor is there and is invested in their learning. Being on camera at the beginning of a video, and you don't have to be on there the whole time, but students like to know that you're there for them, and it really personalizes the experience for them, makes it more engaging. At the very beginning of the session, remember I talked about when I'm looking at you and when I'm looking at the presentation. Let them know that that's why you're doing it, so that they can realize that engagement, that you really are there. Making sure they look at the camera. It's kind of hard to look at a camera and not actually look at a person, but you get better at it as you go along. Make sure you always have a good quality microphone to ensure that you have good sound quality, because as soon as they can't hear, all the more reason why they would not be engaged. Be energetic, showing your interest and your compassion, adding any kind of humor you can, always is helpful. So, and with that, I'm going to throw it to Yelena, unless we have some questions, Yelena.
One second.
Okay.
I'm going to unmute myself. So we don't really have any questions, but we have a comment. So the script that you showed is great, but it looks to be very complicated.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah. It's well, I'll be honest with you, as somebody that's been working in video for many years, it works for me. And so you should probably work for a process for you. And for me, this is simply 2 columns and what I'm seeing visually on the screen and what I'm hearing. And so it's probably not as it probably looks more complicated since you had not seen one before. And how I am very explicitly telling my viewers, and so the bold is telling me who's speaking, because there was actually 2 people speaking at once. And I segmented into cells based on what the visual is. So again, it's probably, maybe I'm making it more complicated than it needs to be, but you got to make what's right for you, and for making a script, if simply writing everything out and knowing what you're going to be showing. A lot of people use the Google Slides presentation or PowerPoint to have the visual on the presentation file and putting all their script underneath in the notes area. And then you have a presentation file that you could share with your students afterwards as well.
Yeah. And I will just add one comment. And as Susan mentioned, this script was used actually to record 2 people at the, in the same video. So it will take a little bit of more time and coordination, like who is saying where, what, and when, and how to make sure that whatever different presenters say is very cohesive and flows without any stops and glitches. So that's why. And another thing is that this is a professional quality video. So there is no plan to edit or revise these videos, for example, every semester or every week. So we will create this video, we put it up, and we will update this video only if the tool interface will change, which doesn't really happen very often. So again, we can put a little bit more time to develop good quality video, because we don't expect there will be any more time to edit that very often. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So with that, Yelena, I'm going to turn screen sharing over to you, and I will stop sharing.
Yeah.
And Yelena will take it from here on video integration.
Yes, and I'm gonna start my screen, and I'm going to go to this site, and I'm gonna use the same site. We put all the materials to this public site, and again, I invite you to check this out, to check out this site. There is a lot of information here, a lot of useful resources. And now, if we look at the home page, the way this site is organized, so basically it outlines all the steps of a video development process. So Susan talked about different strategies, content planning and production to actually create the video. But then we are moving into the next stage, and we will talk about video hosting, video sharing, and contextualizing your videos. So let's say you spent some time to actually create a video, and right now, there are so many tools out there. You can use your phone to record a video. You can use your webcam. If you have a professional quality video camera with tripod, again, you can do that. But the bottom line is that you will end up having a video file in MP4 format that will be sitting somewhere on your desktop. And you need to share this video with your students. So your video will need to be uploaded somewhere online. So it needs to be sitting somewhere online, and you need to have a URL that you will share with your students, and students will be able to access that video. So if you have a Canvas site, so it seems to be very natural and logical that you will upload your file to your Canvas site, directly to your Canvas site. However, video files are big. And if you have many video files, so they will eat up your space allocation for every site. So, and it will happen very fast, so you will not have any room for your other resources, for your other activities. So another thing that we need to think about is that Canvas is a learning management system. It is designed to deliver content and to support interaction, do student monitoring, support different activities. It is not a video host service. It is not a video playback service. So there are not playback options within Canvas. So that would be another thing that you will need to think about, is that if a course site has a lot of video files, then this course site might have performance issues. For example, the site will take much longer to load for a student. So a student will be sitting there and waiting, and at some point, if it takes a while, they will just lose patience and will bail out. And of course, we don't want this to happen. And finally, if you have, again, many video files on your site and you want to reuse them for your next course offering, it might be difficult to copy your video content from one site to another. You will have to do this manually. And again, it might take time and effort. And of course, this is something you would want to avoid. So the message that we're trying to send today is that do not upload your video files directly to a Canvas site. And probably at this point, many of you heard this phrase, like, upload your videos to Canvas site, share your videos via Canvas site. So this phrase is a little bit inaccurate. So when we say upload to Canvas site, what we mean is that use Kaltura video host with your Canvas site. In this case, your videos will be sitting on Kaltura video host, but they will be played within a Canvas site, and students will not know the difference. But in this case, your videos will not take up your space allocated for your Canvas site. Right. Any questions about this so far? Yeah. So I just need to scroll down a little bit and to see where we are. Okay. So, and now we need to talk about the video hosting options. So there are a lot of video hosting options available out there, and some of them are free and some of them require membership or subscription. We are going to talk about 2 video hosting tools that are available to you through the University of Minnesota. And we will strongly encourage you to use these tools just because the university already had subscription and a service agreement. So, and if there is some issue, then you will get central support to resolve any issues. So how would you know which tool to choose, or what tool will fit your needs best? So I'm going to go to this link, and actually I will need to minimize it because my subtitles kind of cover some space here. Okay. Okay. So this is the criteria that we suggest using when you need to decide what tool to use and when you need to select one for your needs. So you need to think about the video recording options that this tool has or maybe does not have. Maybe Journey, I will make it a little bit bigger now. Yeah. If this tool has editing options, that's also a good big plus. And sometimes you need to make your videos private and secure just to make sure that unauthorized users cannot really see the videos. There might be some students with some disabilities, and we need to make sure that your videos are accessible. And if you spend some time developing these videos, then you want to know if students use them or not. Yeah. Customizing is also a plus, and also there are some additional features, for example, in video quizzing or in video interactive options. So one thing we wanted to mention is that if you are part of the healthcare component, and those healthcare component departments such as School of Dentistry or medical school, School of Pharmacy or nursing, if your videos have some patient information or some, or these videos need to be protected, so you cannot use Kaltura or YouTube. This is the tools that we're going to talk about. You should use Box. So we're not going to cover Box like within the framework of this workshop. So, but if somebody has questions about Box, please email us and we'll set up some time to actually talk about this with you.
Actually, Yelena, I've actually had two questions about how would people know whether or not they're uploading to Kaltura or to Canvas? And people are asking, if I upload from Canvas, is it uploading to Kaltura? So I'm going to
show you.
Okay,
yes,
we'll show. Perfect. We're going to show.
So yes, I'm going to show you. So what we'll do is we're going to talk about Kaltura and YouTube today, and we will use this selection criteria to actually analyze the features of each tool, so that you can decide which tool you would prefer to use. And we will start with Kaltura. So Kaltura is a media management system that is available to the University of Minnesota, faculty, students, and staff. The unique part about Kaltura is that it has video recording options, it has editing options, and also it can be used as a sharing tool. So, and if we scroll down right here on this page, you will see all these accordion panels, and there is like a little description about each tool. But right now, I'm going to show you how to enable Kaltura options for a Canvas site. So when you log on to your Canvas site, it might have some content already, it might be completely empty. But if you look on this side right here, on the left side navigation menu, you will need to go to the settings, and you will see these 5 tabs. These 5 tabs are visible only to teachers or designers on the site. Then you will be able to customize some details of your course. But if you go to navigation tab right here, so navigation tab controls what links are visible on the course navigation menu on the left side. So the navigation tab will show you 2 lists. So there is a list at the top and there is a list at the bottom. So anything at the bottom is hidden from students, and anything on top is visible from students and enabled. So I look at this list, and right here is my media and media gallery. So these 2 links are actually Kaltura options that we will need to enable for a course site. And I can either drag and drop right here from the bottom to the top list. And let's say I will place it right above Zoom. Or there is this 3-dotted icon next to media gallery. And if I click on this icon, there is an option here, enable. I will click on this option, and again, it pushes this option from the bottom list to the top. And again, I can drag and drop and place it right next to my media. And then if I scroll down right now, and there is a button here, save. So now, right now you see the system reload, the page reloaded, and my media and media gallery are here. So what is the difference between my media and media gallery? Media gallery is the list of all the video files that I uploaded to Kaltura. And I will, if this is the first time you use Kaltura within Canvas, then you will see this message, and all you need to do is just click authorize. And now you will see Kaltura interface, but it is within Canvas. So these are all the videos that I ever uploaded to Kaltura, and the list is very, very, very long.
And I just want to clarify, because you said media gallery.
Yeah,
My media is all of the videos.
All of the videos, yes, sorry. Yeah. My media gallery. So if you're an instructor, you might have a few, you might have many, but all of them will show up right here because these videos are associated with your unique username. So for example, if I'm an instructor, I can select only a couple from this long list, right? And I can pull these 2 or 3 videos into media gallery right here. So it is waiting. And now you see the list is much shorter, right? So only 4 videos are here because these specific videos were pulled from my media, from my long list into a course site and will be used only for this course site. So it is a video set used only for a specific course. Any questions about my media in media gallery? We want to make very sure we're clear about the differences between.
There is one question from Scott.
Hi, Elena. Could you show us again? How did you get it from my media into media gallery? I don't see that dog that was on there.
So on the side, all you need to do is, if you click on my media, so you will see a long list of videos. But then you will be able to actually, we're not going to do it now, but you will be able to actually pull each video and publish it into your media gallery, which is a subset. Mm-hmm. And then if you click on media gallery link right here on the course on the left side course navigation menu, then your selected subset of videos will show up right here.
And all you do is click add media, and that's how you'll be able to pull them in.
Yeah. Right. So, but
we'll send specific instructions for that.
Yeah. So we will be moving on, and let's talk again about Kaltura. So I mentioned already. So these are all the options that Kaltura has. So if you have a video that has been pre-recorded using iPad, using iPhone, or maybe using a web camera, or maybe somebody created it and shared this with you, and you have a video file on your desktop. So you can upload this video to your Canvas site via Kaltura. So Kaltura will be hosting your video, but it will be played again within a Canvas site. If you want to record a new video, again, you can do this with Kaltura. And right now there is actually 2 examples. So you can record a video with your webcam. And in this case, it will be like a talking head video. And you can put it on your site. Or if you need to do something a little bit more fancy, and you want to record your PowerPoint slides with narration, or maybe you want to play your to do a screen capture. So play some application or maybe a website on your desktop and record this. So again, you will be able to do this with Kaltura, but you will need to download Kaltura Capture desktop application. But you will be able to record different types of videos with these options. So when you have a video and you want to edit this a little bit, so Kaltura has editing options, but they are basic. So you will be able to trim your videos a little bit at the beginning and a little bit at the end. So, and then you will save it and then upload to Kaltura. If you want to do something again, something more, something fancier, for example, you want to insert an image, or you want to merge 2 videos into one, or maybe you want to add another soundtrack. In this case, you will need to use professional quality video editing application. But just for a little bit of editing, Kaltura has the options. So when you upload your videos to Kaltura within Canvas, so your videos can be public or open, so anybody can access, or they can be restricted, so only specific users can have access to the videos, or they can be private. So in this case, you will need to specify manually who has permission to watch your videos. And just remember that because your videos are on Kaltura on the Canvas site, and students have to authenticate when they log on to the site. So that means that by default, videos to Kaltura will be protected and secure. Okay, so let's talk about accessibility. So when you upload your videos to Kaltura, so they are automatically closed captioned, and it usually takes like a little bit of time, but up to 24 hours, which is not really very long. And you will be able to actually go in to see the video and clean your transcript if needed. But the accuracy rate is pretty good. So I think it's about 85–90%. But if you have a very specific video, for example, that has a lot of, for example, scientific information, scientific terms, or medical terms, or maybe some math formulas, so yes, of course, then most likely you will need to go and check the transcript for closed captions. It is possible to request closed captions in a language other than English. So the only thing is that you will need to submit a request, and then in this case, it will take, I think, about 3 days to actually create closed captions in a foreign language. Yeah. So we provide some information here about video captions, where to find them, and how to create or edit them. Analytics. So I think Kaltura has upgraded the analytics dashboard for videos, and I think they collect a wide range of data to analyze student use of videos. And I can actually show you an example of this. So you will need to go to My Media, for example, and it will load, and you will see. So any video uploaded to Kaltura will have this set of icons to edit, to delete, or to see analytics data. And I will find just the video. Okay, just saying it then. Yeah, so I will click on this icon, and I will see this analytics. So when we're not going to talk, spend a lot of time talking about analytics, just the highlights. So Kaltura will track the number of impressions, and basically it is every time when a page with the video loaded, and then it will track the number of plays. So every time when the video, when somebody actually clicked on the play button to watch the video, because students will have to authenticate to the site and therefore to Kaltura. So the system will also track the number of unique viewers who tried to watch the video, and the number of and the amount of time the video was watched in general. So for example, if this video is just about 3 minutes, and altogether only like under 1 minute of this video content was viewed, but this is just an example that we put up just for the demonstration. I think the best feature of Kaltura Analytics, I believe, is this. It is a dynamic panel engagement per user. So, and we don't really have anybody. Okay, so let's see if anybody watched this. So if you have several students in your class right here, so all of your students will be listed right here, and you will be able to click on this little arrow and to see the engagement record for the student. So right now it's like this whole row is kind of a light blue, and it says that this student did not watch the video. Yeah, so, and you will see like average completion is 0, total completion rate is 0. But let's imagine if there is another student here, and you will see like some dark blue color somewhere on this row. And that means that those are the times, the sections when students watched actively. Students was watching actively and paying attention. And if you see some like bits and pieces, like somewhere it is dark and somewhere it is light blue and somewhere it is grayish. So anyway, it is where it is gray, then the user stopped watching the video. So when you look at this kind of pattern, you will know, there are segments when students watch the video, so that information was useful. And there are segments when, if you see some areas where students tend to skip, then of course, then you might think like, maybe this information was not useful, or maybe I didn't explain it right, or maybe I need to present this information in a format different than video, maybe as text, or maybe as image. And if you see that, for example, students are supposed, the video is like 10 minutes long, but students tend to stop watching when they get to minute 6. That's again an indicator for you that, the video is too long. They don't watch after minute 6. And then you either need to split the video into 2 segments, or maybe you need to delete some sections of the video because they are of no use for students. Yeah. So that's about analytics, just the highlights of analytics. And let's go back to our hosting, and we will continue talking about Kaltura features. Yes. So we talked about accessibility and analytics and in-video quizzing. So one thing that we like about Kaltura is that it offers in-video quizzing feature. So you can insert questions into your video, and it might be multiple choice questions, true or false, or they can be a reflection statement. So you can assign points that students will get if they answer these questions correctly. So I think this feature, this interactive feature, is very good for students to check their understanding, to guide them, to ask guiding inquiry questions. The only thing to remember is that in-video quizzing feature is not integrated with Canvas gradebook. That means that when students get the points for this activity, but these points will not be recorded in the gradebook. So you will have an option to enter those points manually, or you can just use this activity as a self-check, as a knowledge check, or just as an engagement activity, but it is not really an assessment tool. So it is just a tool that would help students to stay focused, would facilitate active viewing. Okay. Any questions about Kaltura? Okay, so.
I'm sorry, somebody did just ask if you add the quizzes after the video is recorded, and that is correct.
Yes.
And you can't add things to in-video quizzes until the video is already in your My Media. So that's, it's the next step. But in creating your video, I would be thinking of that, keeping that in mind, as where would that question be? Sorry.
Okay. So, and let's move on and let's talk about YouTube. And again, we will use the same selection criteria. So we'll talk about video recording, editing, and hosting, video security, accessibility, analytics, and other options. So YouTube does not have an option to record videos. So it is only a host video. So you can, if you have a video that you recorded using some other tool, then you can upload this to YouTube. And just like Kaltura, where you will be able to trim your videos a little bit. So you will trim a little bit at the beginning or trim a little bit at the end. So YouTube offers very basic video editing functions. So with YouTube, again, you can have your videos secure and private. So you can make them either public so anybody can watch, anybody who clicks on the URL, or you can make videos private. So you will lock the videos, and then you will need to manually specify and provide usernames who can watch the videos. Or you can make videos unlisted. Unlisted means that only if users have a direct URL, they will be able to watch the videos, but these videos will not be searchable. So nobody can find them unless you direct them to this video. YouTube videos are also closed captioned. So, and again, they will be closed captioned automatically. And I think there is a button when a video plays within YouTube frame, there is a button in the corner where users can turn closed captions on and off. And I think at this point they can even do different languages for closed captions. And again, the accuracy rate is also pretty high, and you will be able to either upload your transcript, your closed caption transcript, or you can edit that. So, and remember when Susan was talking about a script? So if you have a very complicated script with a lot of medical information, with a lot of scientific information, then the accuracy rate of closed captions created by YouTube will be probably not so high, because it is a very specific information. But if you have a script, then you can upload the script and sync it with your video, and you'll have closed captions. So that's a nice feature. So YouTube also collects a lot of analytics. The difference between Kaltura analytics and YouTube analytics is that it doesn't really provide information about student view patterns. So it doesn't tell you like when students watch the video, when they drop the video. It just collects information about demographics and basic viewership, like you know, how many users watch the video. Just because the ultimate goal for YouTube is videos is a little, as a host, is different. They just want to get the information to as many people as possible. But what they do, what users do with videos, they don't really collect this information. So, and the in-video quizzing feature is not available with YouTube unless you use like a third-party tool. But then again, you have to juggle like several tools, which might be a little bit more challenging. Okay. Any questions about YouTube? Oh, one thing I wanted to mention, that it is, if you have a video on YouTube, so again, you can have the URL and you can pull it into Canvas via Kaltura. So, so in a way, sort of, the video sort of will be redirected to Kaltura and then played within Canvas. So in this case, it will be more secure and more protected. And Susan, correct me if I'm wrong. So if you share YouTube videos this way, then all the ads and commercial information will be stripped.
Yes. And that's correct. And I'll put a link on how to do that. Mm-hmm. And the other bonus is that technically you could do an in-video quiz in Kaltura if you use this method of bringing it from YouTube, kind of in it. It's called basically linking your content to YouTube. And I'll share that information.
Okay. So any questions about selection criteria, or any questions about Kaltura or YouTube?
Doesn't look so right now.
Okay.
And I'm putting those, I've put a couple of different links on in the chat.
So what we did, we kind of put together this little table, and it just it might be helpful to you when you need to decide. So my personal choice is Kaltura. I use YouTube quite a lot, but I'm just watching the videos, and nobody's tracking, nobody's wants to know what I watched, when I watched. It's really more just for entertainment or informational, just information sharing. But with Kaltura, you get all these features that would help you determine how engaged your students are with your video content. So my personal preference is, of course, Kaltura. Okay. So if you access this site, then you will be able to print this handout out, this table out. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So if I create something in, say, Screencast-O-Matic,
yes,
Is that similar to the Kaltura tool that is already on Canvas? Or can I do it in Screencast-O-Matic and then upload it to Kaltura?
Yeah, Screencast-O-Matic is an online video recording tool, but it is only a video recording or video editing tool.
Okay.
So it does not have this option of video hosting. And that's why when you have a video recorded with Screencast-O-Matic, then you need to find a host. You need to put it somewhere. You need to upload the video somewhere. So in this case, Kaltura will be your choice.
I see.
So with Screencast-O-Matic, you will just create the video, but then you will need to host it in Kaltura via Canvas.
But if I create the video with Kaltura,
but if you create the video with
Canvas.
Kaltura, so you record, and you host, and you share all in Kaltura within Canvas.
Okay, and they have pretty much the same features as as Screencast-O-Matic.
Well, Screencast-O-Matic has a little bit more, a few more editing options.
I see.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you need to do a lot of editing, that is a very good, that's a very good workflow especially if you're already used to using Screencast-O-Matic, there's no reason to not use that. And so, but then you can upload it to Kaltura very easily. So absolutely.
Thank you.
Someone has also brought up the fact that you can add a video and embed it right into your module pages. Absolutely. And that's kind of out of scope for what we're talking about. Absolutely. Kaltura videos using that rich media editor, rich content editor, embeds it right in a page. It could also be embedded in a discussion. So it's great. Yeah, go ahead.
And actually, we're going to look at the examples, how videos can be embedded. Yeah.
Sorry, I'll let you go on.
And actually, we are a little bit out of time, is it?
Oh, yes. Gosh, it's 1:57.
1:57. So what we'll do is, one thing that we want to mention very quickly, that when you have your videos, when you upload your videos, it is very important to contextualize that. And contextualize means that you provide information and tips and prompts for students what they're supposed to do with video. So what they need to know before they watch the video so that they are able to understand and follow the information. Maybe they need to know, maybe they need to review a problem set, to review a lecture, maybe they need to download notes so that they can write down some key points. During the video, what they need to pay attention to, what they need to observe, like what they need to reflect on. And once they're done with the video, so what are the video takeaways? What are the key points, and what students need to do to either reinforce what they have learned or to practice and apply. So that would be contextualizing. And now we have quite a few examples of how the videos can be contextualized. And right here, this is an example of video embedded on a page, just like one of our participants mentioned. So this is the video, and it is embedded on a page. And again, Susan was talking about video objectives, so it's right here. So it doesn't really need to be a lot of text. It just needs to frame the video. You know, this is the video to prepare for an exam, for example, or something like that. If there are any resources that needs to be used with the video, again, you will link them right here. And at the bottom, again, there is like next steps. After you watch the video, what be your next step?
I would like, Yelena's going to go through these, but anyone that does have to leave, feel free to do so. Thank you very much. We're going to send follow-up email, and you will be able to have links to this course site. But I'd like Yelena to continue, and thanks for joining us.
Yes, and right here, this is an example of a playlist, of a video playlist in Kaltura. Remember when Susan was talking about Zoom, and you can use Zoom record and stop button to actually chunk your recording into several segments, but then you can upload them to Kaltura. And then again, you can cluster them together into a playlist. And then students, you will decide what would be the order of your video segments. And students will actually have to go through the whole sequence in the order you specified earlier. So for example, if you have a long lecture, and again, you will split it into smaller segments and students will review that. And you can do the playlist in Kaltura right here, or you can do a playlist using YouTube. So right here, if I click on this little icon, so this is, the playlist will be displayed. Yeah. So the next example is a video assignment. So students can actually, this is a video of a question that the instructor is asking, and then students can record a video answer. So they will need to actually, an instructor will need to set up an assignment and specify that it will be a text entry box, and students will be able to embed a video in that text entry box. And right here, we also specify if somebody wants to try this kind of assignment. So this is a handout for students, how to actually record a video assignment in Canvas. Okay. So I'm just going very quickly here. So this is a video question. So you can embed a video into a discussion. So students, for example, in this particular example, there is some, again, statement, objective, and then students are supposed to watch the video. And after that, they're supposed to reply to discussion questions about this video. Or another way to actually use videos for discussion is that students are supposed to read an article, for example, but then again, they can record a video response answering these questions. And I think our last example, or not last example, but this is a very easy way to actually check students' comprehension and knowledge. So students are supposed to watch the video right here, and right embedded here on the page, there is a question, and students are supposed to answer the question. Right here, see, there is a little note that our answer is required. So let's say I will use this one and it is not correct, stay on the side and it is not correct. So I cannot move ahead. And then this is correct answer. And then there used to be a note here. And now next button is active because a student watched the video and then answered this question correctly. And I can move on. And this is a video quiz. So I think probably many instructors might be interested about this. So what I will do, I will click on this and I'll play the video. So there is a, the first slide actually provides information to students that there is a quiz with this video. And I'm not gonna play the whole video, but you will see everywhere where you see these little bubbles, this is where the question is inserted. And students will, Kaltura will not allow skipping the video. So students will actually have to play and watch the whole video before they arrive at the question, and then the question will be displayed. And then you can set the questions as required or optional. So if they are required, then students will have to answer this question before they can again proceed with watching the video. Okay. So these are all our examples. And if you're interested, you can log on to the site and explore a little bit further.
Elena, I would like to address one of the questions that came up from Joan. She said, why would you have a student upload a video into a text box as opposed to upload videos as a video? And that's a great question. And the reason why this is so complicated is it's because the way Kaltura is integrated within Canvas, the only way that a student could upload the video is using the rich content editor that you get. And so by adding it as a text box, you provide the students with instructions on how to engage the video. And Elena has it right here using the embed media button. And that's how a student could actually upload. And
Yes.
I think we have I think I have a KB article that I can link to as well.
So yes, students will need to upload the video and embed. And embed will be like here when you go to edit mode, because every time you make a change, it will be edit mode. So whether a student or instructor will see this ribbon with all these options, and this ribbon is called Rich Text Editor. And right here in the middle, there is this rainbow burst icon. So if they click on this icon, like this little window will open up, and they will be able to actually upload a new video right here, upload the video. So that's why they will need to actually use this rich text editor to embed their videos right here.
And it seems incredibly counterintuitive. And I couldn't agree with you more. But that's unfortunately the way it's set up.
Yes.
I did just add into here how a student submits a video assignment using Kaltura. and it gives them the instructions on how to do what Yelena showed. I would recommend if you set up an assignment where you're having a student do that, that you link to that so that they have those instructions.
Yeah, and just very briefly again, like these are the steps that you will need to go through when you create your videos. So basically you need to be very careful with planning. You'll need to select appropriate content, control information flow, make sure that there is a instructor's presence, make your videos personal. You will need to choose video host, and you will need to create context for your videos. Yeah. And I think we want to also to share information, and Susan, you have this information about upcoming workshop.
Right, we have an upcoming workshop next week, I believe, that's going to be a little more hands-on about using media. I'm going to put a link to it in the chat right here. These are more informal sessions that allow you to ask a lot of questions about the specific topic. And this is called Build Your Course Media. And actually, Yelena and I will be there, and we're going to be breaking people into small groups. We're limited to 25 people, but there is some room yet in the session. And it's really about how to use the tools, and if you have examples of assignments that or content that you want to put in your course, we're going to give you time to actually do that. It's still only an hour long, but we won't be presenting a bunch of information. We're there to answer questions and to help you move through that. So with that, we're way over time, sorry. But thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it. And hopefully, and again, you'll get a follow-up email in about a week.